From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the closing bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the closing bell. Hey sports fans, are you ready for an exhilarating gaming experience? Introducing VIPclub.lv, your ultimate online sportsbook and casino. VIPclub.lv offers a vast selection of sports, from football and basketball to tennis and baseball. Bet on your favorite teams and enjoy the thrill of the game. But that's not all. Our state-of-the-art online casino offers a dazzling array of games, including slots, blackjack, roulette, and live dealer tables. Win big with their fantastic promotions, rewards, and exclusive offers. Join VIPclub.lv today and get a generous 100% match welcome bonus to start your winning streak. Make sure to use code ECSI at sign-up. Bet it, win it, and cash it at VIPclub.lv. Visit VIPclub.lv now and play responsibly. VIPclub.lv, your sportsbook and casino extravaganza. Must be 21 or older to play. Please gamble responsibly. Visit gambleware.org for help. ECSI fans, do you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all of your sports books and track all of your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You can also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as they're the best account on the platform. Head to the App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire to download the app.
Good evening, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell for Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. I think almost we're going to have to start, Riley, almost like they do on the Twitch TV stations and studios, is we're going to have to go with a 5-minute intro preview. We're about to start, and we're going to have to roll out all the credits, all the sponsors, all the commercial ads, and get everyone into the viewing area so we can get this show started, as we're almost 5 minutes in, and I haven't even brought you in, Riley. But first and foremost, shout out to the gentleman behind the glass, Evan Lewis, Joseph Shea. Shout out to our proud sponsor and partnership, of course, WagerWire. If you have not downloaded the app, please do. Run over to Google app or wherever you download the apps. Download it. It's free. You should have started tracking your bets. You should have started checking on your ROI. You should have started downloading some of those sports books that's available to you in your states, taking advantage of match bets, promos, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And hopefully, if you haven't, please do tonight. And secondly, if you're looking for a little side hustle or a little flash cash, send an email to affiliates at wagerwire.com. Tell them Jeff JD from ECSI sent you, Zach, Travis, the rest of the team, the community, the family on Twitter and everywhere else, the best in the business. Tell them we said hello. And last but not least, proud sponsor, the VIPclub.lv. If you haven't, go over to there, download that app. Always click ECSI in the sign-up bonus. The best customer service in the business. Jay and the rest of that family will take good care of you as well. So without further ado, Riley coming in at the 6-minute mark. The one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, my friend. Happy New Year officially to you from myself in person here. Ready to rock and roll, my friend. We've obviously haven't caught up in a handful of days here, but we've got plenty of basketball coming down the way. I think I said it yesterday. Yesterday kind of marked the restart of the the really solid on an almost daily basis college basketball slate. We had a couple of weeks stretch there where it was a lot of some good games mixed in here and there, but a lot of the the cupcake games around Christmas and New Year's, if there was any, and obviously a little slimmer around that time. So last night was a fun night, kind of easing back in. Tonight kind of similar, and then I know as we get going on here, there's going to be plenty of big games, but obviously also NBA tonight as the NBA gets rolling here into the new year as well. And kind of interesting, where we're at here. The Christmas Day NBA spotlight that has always been is obviously slowly, maybe not even slowly, but been getting taken away by the NBA or by the NFL. Has been dominated now the last few years, but the spotlight is kind of being taken away as far as that Christmas Day, as the unofficial start of the NBA. I think it might be until, after the Super Bowl, after the All-Star break, where the NBA, the people will start to wake up and actually watch a regular season basketball game. But I digress. I've been, watching, as much as I can with everything else going on in the sports world. But interesting the way we've gone, and obviously, I'm not sure what point of the week here and into next week we'll talk. Obviously, it's Monday night, so maybe we might even have a chance on Monday. But obviously, the national championship is set for college football and a couple of exciting games. So I can go wherever you'd like to go, my friend. It is glad to be back here, though, in the year of 2024.
I have so many things to get off my chest. This is about you today. I'm thinking Packers. I'm thinking Big Ten. I'm thinking first and foremost, congratulations. You had a pretty big weekend.
I did. Finally, long overdue, as per my now fiance's words. But I did get engaged myself here the night before New Year's Eve. Didn't do New Year's Eve. Did the night before New Year's Eve. But we've been together for a while, so it was long overdue. I'm obviously still in my 20s, so I don't feel like it's been that long. But other people would say otherwise, that I was a little long overdue there. So, but either way, no, it was a great weekend. So, as I'm saying, feeling great heading into 2024. 2023 ended with a great year, ended with a great finish there for myself.
Well, first and foremost, of course, congrats. I saw it on social media. I hit you up immediately. ECSI VIPs 3-0 last night. Oh, so good. And I thought we were going to get bamboozled. We had the Canucks team total over 3.5. I think they scored 4 in the first, 5 in the first. So that was quick and painless. Your Illinois State team. We had Illinois State Drake over 138.5. I think that flew over. And we had the team total of the Avs over 3.5 against the Islanders. And Islanders jump out early. Avs tie it 3-3, and then when the Islanders took a 4-3 lead heading into the third, I'm like, oh shit, don't do this to me. But Avs tie it up, and then they end up winning 5-4 in overtime. So that was phenomenal. Great start to the year for us there. A lot of questions before we break down into the board. Big NBA slate, a decent college slate, only 2 NHL games. I was thinking out loud, Riley, and a lot of people aren't going to agree because of the second half. You got an opportunity to have 2 national champions from the Big Ten this year. And obviously the Michigan Wolverines on Monday, 5.5 point favorites. Kind of funny, social media. Penix, you would have thought, played on Pluto. Everyone talking about, wow, I've never seen this guy throw. Who the hell is this guy? I mean, the announcer even, holy shit, Penix dropping dimes. I mean, he was amazing. And of course, I'm typing up on social media. I'm telling all my friends and colleagues, oh my God, here it is now. A guy a handful of weeks ago that was second round pick now is a guy they're talking that could be the third pick, maybe even in front of Harrison Jr., Jaden Daniels, who everyone is like talking about that. And then Purdue. I talked about this with Travis on WagerWire a couple weeks ago on our weekly show. I'm going to say the same thing to you. Virginia, a handful of years ago, was a number 1 seed overall and lost to a 16 seed. The first time a 1 had ever lost to a 16. next year won the national title. Well, of course, we know what happened to Purdue last year. Number one seed in the whole tournament, lost in the first round. Shocking upset. And here they are again, just playing lights out. Zach is just a beast. And I know people don't think Painter's a great coach, yada, yada, yada. And I know if you and I was doing the closing bell last night, the first headliner would have been, which team shows up, the Terps or the Twerps? And you knew right away who was showing up. But thoughts of potentially 2 Big Ten championships.
Well, you're forgetting that the old Washington Huskies, in a handful of months, I believe, will be a Big Ten team. So we're getting one guaranteed winner out of that college football championship, depending on how you look at it there. But no, I mean that obviously, I mean Michigan, I haven't looked in a few days, somewhere around a 5-point favorite. Obviously favored, Alabama. If you're looking at odds, that game against Alabama was the tougher of the 2 games. Obviously, that's not to disrespect Washington. They obviously were, a few point dogs to Texas and made it happen. So, as well as dogs to Oregon and made it happen. So, obviously, Michigan's got a great chance. If we're not counting Washington, Michigan obviously has a great chance as a Big Ten team. Obviously, as someone who's both a Big Ten football and Big Ten basketball fan, I would prefer that the Big Ten basketball drought of whatever now 20-plus years is the one that ends, as opposed to the football one. Not as many years, obviously, but no, I think Purdue, obviously, you just have that. It's another team that obviously just has the continuity of a lot of guys back, and we've talked, if they're a team that can be middle of the pack at, everyone around Zach Edey is knocking down their shots and whatnot, then they should be that, top one or, if not one, they're close to it, and obviously a lot of people, Kansas is really, really good, but not quite as much of a juggernaut out of the gates as I think a lot of people expected them to be. Could they be by the end of the year? Absolutely. And obviously, again, they are very good. But, I mean, as far as a Big Ten representative, the only other team that's really, flexed their muscles a little bit is Illinois. And I failed to mention this yesterday. I forgot about it. I was one of those things where I forgot to talk about the Illinois-Northwestern game while I was talking college basketball. But Terrence Shannon out for the foreseeable future is not only a huge bummer for an Illinois fan, but as someone who my brother was his PE teacher, one of his assistant football coaches while he was in high school. It's a really, really tough pill to swallow if it is true. What happened, and regardless, you can't imagine this legal process is going to get shaken out here in the next couple of months in the snap of a finger, regardless of if he's, innocent or not. So they did look fantastic last night, Illinois basketball, against Northwestern. Without him, they've got some, plenty of talent filling in the cracks there, but obviously a lot of athleticism and that ceiling gets taken down a little bit there. So from a Big Ten standpoint, I mean, the Big Ten is as much now Purdue's as it could have been even before that. But from a national landscape, I mean, if they are going to be the hungry team, Purdue, similar to the way Virginia was. So they have that going for them. Could they get beaten? Absolutely, over a 5-6 game stretch, whatever it is. But they're going to have a better chance this year than they did last year. That hunger is nothing to shake a stick at. The last, it seems like the last 5 to 10 years, there's just not as many teams that are, hungry at the very top of things. And when you have that factor going for you and you are one of the best teams, then, that obviously helps out. So I like their chances. They got to stay consistent. Unfortunately, it should still be a good game, but Illinois, Purdue actually playing this upcoming weekend, Friday, at Purdue. I don't know what the upcoming line for that is, but that still should be a good game. Obviously, could have and should have been a better one. With Terrence Shannon in there potentially. But either way, it still should be a great game, and I do like Purdue's chances of making a deep run. Certainly not getting bounced by a 16 seed this year. I think it's safe to say that we can expect them not to be the third team to be bounced by a 16 seed.
And one of those teams expected to be a juggernaut, and they started out the season like that, but a couple hiccups now. I think it was 2 Saturdays ago, Arizona, 5.5 point favorites over FAU, losing overtime or double overtime in that game. But the shocker is double-digit favorites against Stanford, and Stanford beat them by 20 and put up 100 spot on them. So I don't know what's going on in Arizona and Wildcat country. I mean, I think the Pac-12 is not as strong as it was last year. UCLA has taken a step back. USC struggling. So be interested to see. Colorado supposed to be better. We'll see there. Of course, my Yukon Huskies beat up on DePaul last night. The Big East is going to be interesting. I still think, Creighton is the over-talked team in the Big East. Marquette with a hiccup early in the Big East in conference play. I can't stress it enough in the Big East Conference. I'll say it 100,000 times till we get to March. You got to win your home games and hope to go 500 on the road. Every time you go out on the road, I don't care if you're undefeated, one loss, or you got a bullseye, whether it's UConn, Marquette, Creighton, you're going to be favored most of the time on the road, and it's a not easy place. And if you don't defend your home court as one of the big perennials, Marquette, UConn, Creighton, Nova, whatever it is, you're in for a long, long season there. Before we get into tonight's slate, Packer Talk, Week 18. I don't want to say Jordan Love's coming out party on Sunday, because he has shown flashes and he has played great down the stretch here. I'm going to say Jordan Love's statement game in regards to, this is my team, Aaron Who. And, again, my thoughts about Christian Watson. My thoughts, the wide receiver core. I don't want to say soft, but thank God for Jaden Reed. But just a great effort on Sunday or Monday, whenever the hell it was. I'm losing track of days again, against Minnesota. And now, you got the Bears, your 3.5-point favorites. In come Justin Fields. Defense, since they got Montez Sweat, has been phenomenal. And of course, we will have 3 months of talk before the draft. What is the Bears doing, since they have the Panthers in the first pick? If I was GM, I'd keep Justin. I would trade the first pick where I could wiggle down just far enough to try to get Marvin Harrison, and I would build around him, get a stockpile of picks. I understand the Caleb Williams, because you're going to get 5 years. You're going to get a fresh start. You're going to get that rookie deal on a quarterback versus 1 year of Justin Fields, and then you got to pay him. So thoughts on Love, thoughts on the Packers, and thoughts on this coming Sunday?
Yeah, I'll even transition into my own thoughts on that situation with the Bears coming up. But no, I think the way you put it, as far as the other night's game, like you said, not necessarily his coming out party, because he's had a few of these other solid games. Obviously, the game against the Lions on Thanksgiving, that one you might say as it was his coming out party. But then you're as you said, kind of claiming this team as his own and driving him there, because there was a point in the season where they still lost a game or two, where the offense kind of got out of the funk that they were in, whether it was Jordan Love not being out of sync, or maybe those 4th and 1s not converting, because the first half of the season there was just a lot of clunkiness and out of disorder. And then they kind of flipped the switch, and even I'm looking at their list of games. They lose a game to the Steelers where only 19 points, but I had no issue with the way their offense looked. Their run defense got absolutely gashed in that game, and then they go on a nice little 3-game run. Even the Giants game is the only one where in the second half of the season where it was really just Jordan Love just off and not just looking terrible, and he looked flat out bad in that game. Kind of just one of those games that he didn't have it. Even that game against the Bucs looked fine. Defense was just not it. Same thing with the Panthers. Defense bad. Jordan Love fine. So the offense, the Packers fan base is coming around a lot on this entire offense. The very young offense, because like you said with the receivers, I like the way the receivers are coming along. I do think it is a room that could use a kind of jam it down your throat type of attitude at one, whether it's a new guy or a veteran guy. I don't know. Because Jaden Reed looks great. Christian Watson, when he's healthy, has looked great. I like Romeo Doubs in the goal line, but Romeo Doubs himself seems like an awesome dude. But a guy I would, health-wise hasn't been soft as far as not being on the field, but kind of that soft hands, not really ripping the ball, that type of thing. So I do agree as far as that to a decent degree. Love our tight end room, 3 rookies, Musgrave hurt, but a lot of great things that I like about the offense. And on paper, there's still a lot of great things I like about this defense, but despite the great performance the other night, the fan base has still got it out for Joe Barry as the defensive coordinator. If there's one thing on our wish list, it's for him to be gone and and someone else to come in and fix this defense, because like I said, there's a lot of pieces. Do I think they need to be added to take another step next year? Yeah, but as far as what we have right now, there's some pieces that I still like there. So optimistic this year, but it's obviously almost in a very similar, I shouldn't say identical because it's not quite identical, but it is very similar to what they faced last year. The Lions coming into town, I thought the Lions, as we've seen this year, I know you and I agreed that the Lions were very dangerous, not only in that game, but coming into the NFC North this year. I think the Bears are making the right steps. I don't think they are in the same type of make that next step to be in the champs of the NFC North and potential Super Bowl contender. I don't think they're quite at that step yet. Obviously have a huge offseason, as you said. But optimistically, the Packers, obviously, knowing that it's a very similar situation, should be more well prepared now this time around, and not on the bright lights of Sunday Night Football. Don't have all day to think about it. Afternoon game there. So from an offensive standpoint, I am feeling better about it. The Bears defense, however, has been playing really well. Needs to be given credit for someone who was as low on their defense the entirety of last year and about the first half of this year. They have really come around. I have to give them credit for that. And so I'm interested to see what that looks like. This honestly is one of the tougher tests that Jordan Love has faced in a handful of weeks with the way their defense is playing right now. So in my opinion, at the end of the day, I think it's going to come down to how effective Justin Fields and the Bears offense is at moving the Packers, moving the ball against the Packers, because I think the Packers will put up some points. And it really comes down to what you get out of Justin Fields in this offense from the Bears there. And really, I from a Bears fan base perspective, I don't know, maybe the mind is made up in the front office with Ryan Poles. From a fan base perspective, this is another one where if the Bears win this game, Justin Fields is their guy. I can tell you that much. He already is pretty much with people that I respect in the Bears fan base and people that I follow. Obviously, being in Northern Illinois, I hear a lot of media personalities in Chicago for the Bears. It does seem like they are trending towards, like you said, the move being keeping Justin Fields, trading the first pick, moving down, getting one of those, if not Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze from Washington. So I do think that is a way. If he puts up a stinker, Justin Fields, this could flip the fan base all the way back to the other end. Again, maybe the front office has their mind made up, but I do think Justin Fields is going to be around. And like I said, if he wins this game, I think he wins the job. If he hasn't already there. So, and I do agree with you. I think the move could be and probably will be keeping Justin Fields, moving back, getting Marvin Harrison Jr., and then, a couple of other, first, second round picks on top of that. So, the offseason is obviously the Bears fans do have a lot of optimism, be hopeful, but as someone who's watched Bears fans and this Bears franchise, there is that other side of it where what if you make the wrong decision and you keep Justin Fields, and in a couple of years we're still wondering whether or not he's actually the guy and Caleb Williams becomes a Hall of Famer. That would be, kind of the MO and what has happened during my lifetime as being someone who doesn't like the Chicago Bears. So that is should be in their heads as well. But, it's the grass isn't always on the other side of the coin. The grass isn't always greener, as they've found in their franchise's history. So I think the best move is to keep some stability here and try and just build what they have, because they obviously have the capital to build around Justin Fields in this offseason and add another piece or two to that defense. So, I don't think this game will change too much for them either which way, but if he has an absolute clunker, then that might swing things the opposite way, and we're going all the way back in for Caleb Williams if you're a Bears fan. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, it is – I'm a Justin Fields fan. I think he has the potential. He is a starting quarterback in the NFL. Just look with the addition of Sweat how the defense is playing. Oh, yeah. Just look the offense with the addition of DJ Moore. The problem is you got one more year of him, and then if you go to bed with him next year, then you got to pay him. And the fact is, the way these GMs think, the way these franchises now think is, hey, as much as we love Justin, we know we can just call Atlanta right now, get their second-round pick this year for Justin. So you got the first pick, you got your own pick, which is, I don't know where it is right now, 10, 11, wherever the Bears are. And then you jump back in early in the second. And then, so you're still stockpiling picks. You get your Caleb You get 4 or 5 years of him, and you're still building around Caleb now.
Right, and that's the other side of it, where if you truly believe in what you've built around the quarterback, regardless of who the quarterback is, the current adage of the last 10, 15 years of the best time to build a Super Bowl contending team if you've got all the pieces is with a rookie quarterback on his rookie deal, because then you could build all the way around him. And that is another great argument as to why they could do that if you really believe in what they've done on the defense and everywhere around them, which – like you said, I don't know exactly where it is. If they, it could be 10 to 16, whatever it is. Still got a good chance of getting another wideout or whatever it is, and they've got a lot of cap room as well that they can deal with. So there's a lot of angles to it that could make sense for whatever they do here for Chicago.
I said there was only 2 games in the NHL. I'm just going to get that done and over with here. Give me 1 second. La, 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 la. We're not talking tennis today. Tomorrow, by the way, just a quick little homework assignment. You might want a little Century golf tips for the fans tomorrow. Golf starting up on Thursday. Was it in Hawaii? So just keep an eye on that if you haven't already. New Jersey at Washington, 7:37 start. Toronto at Anaheim, a 9:07 start. If you're looking for some team totals, you can grab New Jersey tonight, 3.5 over -110 there. Toronto, Anaheim. There's really no way to get in here, guys. You're not going to lay the juice with Toronto over 3.5 -145. They did play last night and blanked the Kings. Or should I say beat the Kings. Anaheim, 2.5 over -140. This could be that high-scoring affair that we thought Toronto and the Kings would be last night, which wasn't. So I don't see anything in there. I guess your only play might be New Jersey team total over 3.5 there. As I said, big NBA slate and the college slate. I'm going to throw you a nice little two-handed bounce pass to the wing and give you the slate and let you take her away.
All righty. For the NBA, there's there's 2 or 3 numbers that kind of stink in my eyes here. There's a big slate here. Let me just switch gears here. There's a couple numbers that are interesting in this game. Milwaukee and Indiana. Milwaukee 3.5-point favorites on the road here. This is a rematch of 2 days ago in Milwaukee. Milwaukee 8-point favorites, loses outright by 9 points. The total in that game, my friend, closed at 261.5, according to the numbers that I got right here, and finishes almost 30 points under at 235. And now we're right back to it at 257. This is, I think, the third matchup that these two teams. I think this is the fourth matchup actually that these two teams have played this year. Unless that doesn't make sense. Okay, I could be wrong. I think my dates on my tracking app are wrong here, but they obviously played a couple days ago. This is saying they already played 4 times this season, and this will be the 5th, which doesn't make sense. So that's wrong. But nonetheless, these totals in these games have been absurd. But you go from 261 and it finishes at 235, and now we're back to 257. Not to mention this Bucks defense has cooled off from the hot streak that they were on during the winning streak that they were on. So I'm going to go ahead and say this one goes flying back over somehow. My first gut with this number smelled a little bit, but you've obviously got these two teams playing a gap in between days, but playing a rematch after a couple days ago. But I'm going to go ahead and say over on this one, my friend, 257.
It's funny because I've had some people that have been with us since 2015, and they'll just crawl out of the woodwork and say, "Oh my God, they're trying to set us up for this one." And someone reached out to me about that total a couple nights ago. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Russell Saylor just said Pacers are 3-1 versus the Bucks this year. This is the 5th time, I think, because of the in-season tournament. Otherwise, my brain was falling apart because you're only supposed to play your division teams 4 times. But I think it's because of the in-season tournament. So I interrupt. But either way, that's why. So thank you, Russell.
Exact. Pacers in Vegas. That's right. Pacers beat the Bucks to then go on and lose to the Lakers. So he reaches out and goes, "Oh, they're not getting me with the banana in the tailpipe." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "Yeah, that 259, the whole world's going to bet the under. It's an NBA All-Star, roll the ball out. First one to 150 wins." And like you said, it was 30 points under. That's the first thing I saw today in the NBA. If you had the over a few days ago, get back on the bull and go for the over again. That would be my only play in this game.
Right. And like I said, the spread smelled to me, but this one more, that was just knee-jerk without realizing that they played a couple of days ago or remembering that they played a couple of days ago. But so I'm not trying to crack that one. But, yeah, that total is definitely one of the things that stood out to me as well. Another one, this is the other one that stood out to me as well. I believe OKC is on the second night of a back-to-back, just beat your Celtics in OKC. Last night, now traveling to Atlanta. Thunder on a nice win streak here. I don't know what the exact number on the streak is, but on a nice little win streak here. 5 in a row, 8-2 last 10. The Atlanta Hawks just ended a losing streak, a handful of game losing streak. And now I'm seeing the Hawks or the Thunder are short favorites, 1-point favorites. So this one, another big total, 248.5. Which is kind of right around where the Hawks have been. They were at a couple of 250s lately that have gone back and forth. So not making too much out of that one, although it is higher for a Thunder game. So, seem maybe spot on at 248. I don't know. But I'll say this one just smells and that the Atlanta Hawks find a way to get a couple in a row and end this OKC losing streak on the second night of a back-to-back for them.
I was working with Anthony last night at the studio at his compound, watching the Celtics lose to OKC Thunder. And let's just say this. If anyone watching and listening has not bought any stock to add to your portfolio, I don't care if it's pizza and beer, go grab some OKC stock. The team's legit. The team is young. They are playing well. They are so unselfish. They're athletic. They can shoot. They can defend. They can beat you 130 to 129, or if you want to try to slow it, they can play everything. And I'm not saying they're going to win the NBA championship. I'm not saying they're going to the conference finals. But when you look at the West, look what Denver's going through. Look at the aging Lakers. Look at what Phoenix is going through. I mean, Bradley Beal couldn't get on the court if his paycheck was at half court. Okay. I mean, and then Dallas, I mean, Kyrie still thinks the world is flat. You know that. I like the youth in the West. I do. I like the OKCs. I like Minnesota. I'd like to say New Orleans. I just Zion, too many country buffets. I don't know what it is. But the fact is, I don't think Denver's repeating. I don't, as much as you want to root for the Lakers, they just don't have enough pieces. We've seen the KD Phoenix Sun act. It's not going to happen. Dallas, by the time the playoffs come, Kyrie will be pouting, wants an extension, wants something. So invest in the youth. That's all I'm saying.
I'm 100% with you. I think it's 9-1 or so to win the West. Because like you said, I mean, you've got in the East, you've got Boston and Milwaukee and Philly as the three teams that obviously look like they're going to run away with the top three in the East. And you could make the argument the NBA championship is going to come out of one of those three teams. But I mean, to add on to your what you just said there, I don't know if you said the Clippers, but I think everyone would agree that the Clippers at some point are probably going to have some type of shenanigans happening. I think if you told me all of those guys are going to be healthy and playing and are playing their best, then sure, I'll believe in the Clippers 100%. But that's a tall order for sure there. And the Wolves at 24-8, they're the 1 seed right now. I think it's safe to say that there's going to be. I think Anthony Edwards is one of my favorite players to watch. He's so dynamic, so good, and so exciting. I think it's fair to expect them to regress a little bit at some point there. So I am 100% with you as far as this being a legitimately good team. And I agree with you. New Orleans, the other one where if you could sell me that they're going to be 100% healthy the entire way, that would be a team that I buy stock in. Probably am going to buy some stock in them, but. A team that you could absolutely see kind of breaking down and having some injuries there. That's one team that's been successful for me so far this season in certain spots. And, I don't think you mentioned Golden State, who's a shell of themselves as well, home and away right now. So, that's worth mentioning, right?
If you sent me a $50 bill to buy stock in the Golden State Warriors, I'd Venmo you $100 and tell you to take your new fiance and bride out. Hell no.
Exactly. They probably might not make the playoffs there. So, no, I as far as odds for just to win the Western Conference, the Pelicans. Now that we're on that topic, 25-1 is one that's enticing because, like you said, they're just not anyone. I mean, if you want to sell me that the Nuggets are gonna, wake up and find some newfound hunger again in April, then that obviously that's a bit of a different story. But Pelicans 25-1, Thunder 9-1. Let's see, Kings 20-1, but everyone loves the Kings, so that one seems a little fool's goldish there. But nonetheless. That was a good NBA conversation for sure as we kind of pick things up after not really talking too much about it there. Because there's a lot of teams that if things are going right, you could absolutely sell themselves, but the Thunder are a team that should have some level of consistency and youth and motivation the entire season long. So I'm with it 100% of the way with you there. So the rest of the slate tonight, there's a few that I didn't have too many thoughts on. The Bulls next, one that I'm just saying far away from. I was correct in saying the Bulls were going to get I was on the Sixers side last night, and the Sixers from start to finish put the hurt down on my Bulls. Second night of a back-to-back for the Bulls, 8.5, 9-point dogs again. Certainly doesn't feel like a Bulls number, but obviously a lot of things can happen on back-to-back nights. Not to mention you have the Knicks with their new trade. So kind of a situation where I'm looking to feel out the Knicks a little bit there. They have, I think, split since they made that trade, a loss and a win. If not, I can't remember if OG Anunoby played in their first game that they made with the trade. Otherwise, they won the other day. But a team that I'm still trying to feel out a little bit here. But would at least say an 8.5, 9 number for the Bulls in New York here is not a Bulls number off the eyes real quick there.
No, and as I was leaving last night, the Kings were playing. Who were they playing? The Kings,
I think, lost to Charlotte last night, right?
Yeah, it's 17-point favorites or something crazy like that on a back-to-back. And when you were talking back-to-back when we started the NBA, I wanted to bring that up because injuries we talk about all the time in the NBA. Someone all of a sudden is scratched. Don't go run into the window and betting against that team because there's other players there to step up. It's the NBA. Anything can happen. And now the back-to-back, and the same thing I say about hockey. These guys are professional athletes, and someone brought this up to me the other day. It's not like they're driving back-to-back, from Indiana to Chicago, Indiana to New York via school bus, Greyhound bus, or even on Spirit Airlines. These are, for the most part, chartered airlines. Doctors right there. They're already working on the treatments. They got the heat, the ice. Yeah, guys, the back-to-back theory, in my eyes, is gone. There's no such thing.
I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, we've seen so much wonkiness with it. I don't disagree with you at all. I think there's a couple teams maybe that are a little older that you could say at some point in March and April that it might be a situation, but for the most part, I agree. It leads more into guys sitting out, and then the exact opposite of what you would expect to happen. So I don't disagree with you at all.
B Fatty, I want to make sure I'm not butchering this, and if you haven't subscribed to our East Coast Sports Investors YouTube channel, run on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe, it's free. Mr. Fatty says, love the channel. Today is, and this is why I'm saying this because I don't want to butcher this. Today is my wife and her boyfriend's anniversary. Can I get a shout out? Well, I just gave you a shout out. God bless you. Happy anniversary. Okay. But I just wanted to make sure I wasn't saying that the wrong way. So, these glasses do look like they are prescription, and they do sometimes trick me. And I like to say a lot of times they're there for show. So I'm just going to say this, B Fatty, one more time. Thank you for the love. happy anniversary, and God bless you guys. Happy 24.
Sounds good to me. Yeah. Give it as many shout outs as we need to over here, my friend. So, as far as the NBA slate, I believe there was only a few other games here. Memphis still kind of feeling themselves out a little back and forth after the Ja Morant return there. A few wins, few losses all over the place. So I don't think I had too much else. Are the Pistons going to get their fourth win tonight as 8.5-point dogs? Utah, I mean, credit to Utah. Utah was in the dumpster early, and they, probably going to be under 500 by the end of things. But they're playing really well right now. So 8.5-point favorites, probably not warranted still. But Pistons obviously an ugly stretch. They get the win, and then they lose by 23 to Houston there. So. I don't know. Pistons number 8.5.
Hey, listen, you lose 28 in a row, you win one, you're supposed to come back on it. I mean, that's the Bronx Zoo theory. A team that wins 6, 7, 8 in a row, they usually lose the next one. A team that, is on a big losing streak, finally gets a win, usually comes back. I'll look at some team totals here for you. Where are they? See, my eyes are going crazy here. There it is. 120 opened at 123.5 for Utah, 117 for Detroit. Now at DraftKings, I'll use DraftKings. 125.5 juice under -125. And 116.5 juiced under -125 for the Pistons. Bet online 124.5, 116. So they get Utah winning by 8. Hey, you know what? Pizza and beer money, a couple things, grab Detroit plus the 8.5. Sprinkle a little something on the money line for poops and giggles. And I think that 116, they're baiting you to take the under. I'm not spending the 25 cents on the 16.5. Hey, Detroit gets to 117. You might be a hero tonight. How's that?
All right. I'll take it. That's about it for there's a couple other NBA games, but nothing too crazy. Sacramento and Orlando both on the second night of a back-to-back. Sacramento, as you mentioned, loses to Hornets as I think it closed at 15, but I think it was around 17 at one point. And Orlando loses in Golden State last night. Sacramento now 4.5-point favorites. Both teams almost identical record. Both these are two of my favorite teams to watch. So probably one I'm going to be watching tonight. This is a late one though, but I don't know. Feel good about a Sacramento back-to-back bounce back. I mean, on the second night of a back-to-back. We just talked about back-to-backs, but both these teams. On that back-to-back there, so kind of throw it out if you aren't already. But any love for this 4.5 number here at home? Sometimes, some places 5 for Kings tonight.
Yeah, I think you would have to take a look at the embarrassment and the bounce back thought processes. Again, they were up as high as 17 points. Anthony asked me, I was like, Sacramento shouldn't be favored by 17 over anyone in the NBA and probably in college too at this point. And it was almost like, again, that Jedi mind trick Vegas is trying to do to us. It's 17 for a reason, Jeff. I know Charlotte's bad, but it's 17 for a reason. They had just lost by 30 the night before or 2 nights prior. And then, of course, Sacramento got a 10-point lead early in the first quarter, but it's the NBA. You blink, and here comes, Charlotte on a 12-0 run. And it was just grab ass the rest of the way. My point is the overnight team totals was Sacramento 117 and Orlando 115.5. So it was a 1.5 difference. Now 117.5, 113.5, or 118, 113. I think Sacramento bounces back. I would lean that way, but again, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
No, it is a tough one. Like I said, this is a good two good young teams. Grab your popcorn and enjoy this one tonight. So let's scoot on over to the college ranks, my friend, before we get on out of here. As far as the slate is concerned, I know there's a couple Big Ten games. Not the cream of the crop necessarily, but you got a Big East game, Providence and Seton Hall. Clemson and Miami, a good one in the ACC there. Go over to the Big East, though. Obviously, an area that you talk about quite a bit. Seton Hall, Providence. Providence minus 5.5. Is that enough respect for the home team Providence Friars, or would you have liked to see it? I mean, they just, as 6-point favorites, took down Butler. I guess it's been over a week and a half or so ago. But on a nice little streak, especially to start Big East play here. Their only losses, I know they got a loss earlier in December against Oklahoma. I can't think who their other loss is. But nonetheless, playing well as we last saw them at only 5.5. Would you like to see this one a little higher here against Seton Hall at home?
On that home game that they beat up, the Big East opener at home was against Marquette, if I remember correctly, and they did a box to wire on them. And I swear the announcer said they're like 20-1 straight up in their last 21 games in the Big East. I think your eyes are spot on, by the way. The number looks a little short. I watched Seton Hall play. I watched Seton Hall beat the UConn Huskies in the Big East opener. How's that one grab you? And UConn got out early, and Seton Hall said not so fast, and then just dominated the second half. I think there's some good respect there for Seton Hall. But again, I'm not going to get into the old school ECSI from a million years ago where ticket counts and money really did matter because you don't know what information is correct or if they just want you to see this information. But here at one of our spreadsheets, I'm looking at 89% of the tickets, 79% of the money is in on Providence, a number that opened up at 6.5, down to 5.5 at the Circa, the Mecca, Jeffrey Benson, Derek Stevens. They're getting sharp play on Seton Hall. So anyone running to the window to pound the Friars, I'm not saying Providence doesn't win. I'm just saying keep your eyes on the Pirates tonight.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, they're 8-5, which obviously at this point in the season doesn't look good, but it's not like they've got, slouch losses. They didn't look great in these losses, but it's 5 power conference teams, I think, off the top of my head here. A couple of them, some really good teams there. So, no, it kind of reminds me of last night's Iowa and Wisconsin game, and I was kind of leaning towards Iowa maybe having a good run giving Wisconsin a good run for the money in Wisconsin, and they did for a large part of that game, and then the wheels kind of fell off the last 5 to 10 minutes of that game there. But it's one where I like I said, we're kind of in agreement here. It does seem a little slight there, and for especially in a conference where the home teams have already been kind of flexing their muscles too, it does seem a little light there.
No, 100%. And I'll leave it right there.
Yeah, no, I think we're good on that one. Clemson and Miami, and then we can scoot on to some of these other ones. These are the two AP-ranked games tonight. But number 16, Clemson, per the AP, up against Miami in Miami. Clemson short favorites here on the road here. 11-1. Their one loss is to a Memphis team. Miami's got a couple losses, Colorado, and I'm drawing a blank on who the other one is. I believe, Clemson has been taking care of business other than that Memphis game. But anyways, 11-1, 155.5 on the total. I like this Clemson team quite a bit. However, it is a team that last year was really, really good at home, and then in a situation like this, couldn't really travel with it on the road all that well here. So any thoughts that Miami pulls off? It's a short upset per the numbers here, but any thoughts that Miami is just going to control home court advantage here and take the win?
It's funny. Shout out to TJ if you're listening. We're talking about your U right now. You don't see Miami at home as home dogs very often. And I remember these Clemson teams from way back that used to have the amazing starts to the year. Then they get into conference play and they go, 1-10, 2-9. Ken Pom has Clemson 79-76. So he's got them winning by 3. Looking at some numbers here. Some light play coming in, pretty close to being split. 59% of the tickets, 54% of the money on Clemson. I got a number that opened at 2.5 last night, down to about 1.5 at Circle, 1 across the rest of the Vegas Strip. if I had to play this game, I'd take a shot with Miami. I'd take the shot at the home team here. I think it will be a high-scoring affair. Let me see the exact total right now, 155. So they're figuring right around 78, 78. I'll say this way, Riley. First one to 80 wins. How's that?
I'll take it, and it's kind of that one where it doesn't seem like there's much of a statement being made here. It's almost like they're saying this is actually close to a coin flip here, and I like Clemson, but again, as you mentioned, whether it's not traveling on the road or having those great non-conferences and then falling apart. I mean, last year was kind of that same case as well. It was almost identical to what's going on now so far, and I think they were even hotter start last year. So I'm with it. I'm staying away from it, but I'll be watching this one, but I'll lean with you on Miami. But I think this one should be a good game, good high-scoring game there. So. The two Big Ten games, and then you can let me know what other games you got interested in. Rutgers and Ohio State. I think this one actually just dropped from 8.5 down to 7.5 here within the last hour or so. Rutgers just doesn't have the same firepower that they've had offensively the last couple of years here. Not quite the same team. I think they'll be a scrappy team and take down some good opponents here in the Big Ten. Not necessarily tonight. If you think that they almost actually lost to who is it? That's the Stonehill guy, 59-58 the other day.
TJ,
yeah, that almost getting taken down by Stonehill on Saturday night there as 26.5-point favorites. Their home court just hasn't had that same allure that they've had in past. Nice win against Seton Hall. So they're not bad by any means. They could absolutely win a game like this, but Ohio State looking like the team that we expected them to last year. Little hiccup against Penn State. I can't remember if they're 1-1 or 0-1 in Big Ten play. Expect Ohio State to take care of business here, but I don't really have a lean on the spread either which way. I could see either this being coming down right to the wire or Ohio State flexing their muscles and kind of taking care of business here tonight.
It's kind of funny because I got last night a 9.5, now down to 7.5 at Circa with a 136.5. The total last night was 131.5, corrected number to 136.5. All the tickets, all the money. I mean, I'm looking at around a 54% ticket count, but with actual money pouring in on Rutgers, no respect for Ohio State here. I think it's kind of one of those. I think a good first half, as you were talking about, I forget about what team it was. Oh, you're talking about Iowa last night against Wisconsin. I think same kind of blueprint. Good first half. I think the wheels fall off in the second half. And it's, that number opened at 9.5 for a reason. They're looking for some Rutgers money. I'll go on record here that Ohio State wins by 10, 11. They'll win by double digits tonight.
Yeah, no, I like it. I just don't like what I'm seeing. If you're telling me at home Rutgers is going to give Illinois or Purdue or Michigan State or whoever a run for their money at the rack like they have in the past few years, then I actually can be I can be all ears on that. But right now on the road against an Ohio State team that's trying to get going and be a no doubt tournament team, this is one where I think Ohio State does win for sure there. Indiana, Nebraska is the other one here. Nebraska at home, 5.5 point favorites against the Hoosiers. 11-2 Nebraska, 10-3 Indiana. Indiana, 3 in a row against some lesser opponents there. A tough little stretch there earlier in December, lose to Auburn and lose to Kansas. Nebraska, however, playing really, really solid here. Lose to Minnesota on the road. Not a great loss for a team that's also trying to make the tournament, obviously. Their other loss, I believe, was did they lose to – they lost to Creighton earlier in December as well, so lost a couple in a row, and since then beat Michigan State at home. So they are a solid team here. This number, though, it's kind of suggests – I don't know if this is more of a statement about Nebraska or a statement of the odds makers not believing in Indiana here because per KenPom kind of – I didn't see what the projection for today's game is, but you got a team that's ranked per KenPom 88th. So kind of reflecting that number here, 5.5. But an Indiana team that I saw was still getting some public love as per the name brand here with similar records. So I think the public is on Indiana here as the decent sized dog here. But I'll say Nebraska gets a win. I don't know if they cover or not, but I'll go with Nebraska getting the win here. And people kind of potentially seeing why this Indiana team is not getting a ton of respect here so far.
Something doesn't add up in Mudville here because Indiana's 10-3, 88th ranked on Ken Palm. Indiana's 3 losses, 10-3, 3 losses on a neutral court to UConn by 20, on a neutral court to Auburn by 28, and then they lost at home to Kansas by 4. That's it. So they did not lose to any schmucks. Okay, here's what doesn't add up. Ken Palm's got them losing tonight 79-72. So he's got Nebraska beating them by 7. I'm okay with that, kind of, sort of. Here's what I have a hard time Saturday, and again, we'll talk after the show. If we're able to do something Friday morning, fine. But if not, maybe we can obviously do something Saturday like we do with the big basketball, Big Ten, whatever. Here's what doesn't add up, though, Riley. Indiana's at home Saturday to Ohio State. And Ken Palm's got Ohio State winning 75-72. So he's got Ohio State going into Indiana on a Saturday, which is not easy to do, and beating them by 3. So if something doesn't add up here, I'm not saying the 10-3. Listen, they got some cupcake wins. Don't get me wrong. Morehead State, North Alabama, Kennesaw State. They beat Michigan by 3. They beat Maryland by 12. They beat Harvard. They beat Louisville. It is what it is there. Wright State Army. And they beat Florida Gulf Coast by 6. And people says, well, that's not Phi Slamma Jamma from a million years ago. Well, that Gulf Coast team last Saturday beat FAU. And again, I know each game is separate. So something doesn't add up here. Nebraska wins by 7 or 8, and I can't wait to talk to you later in the week about that game on Saturday. I might need a second mortgage because something smells in Mudville.
No, it's why I love this transition, because now you get these conference games and these type of conversations there. So, if Indiana shows up and looks great tonight and wins this game, then I think we'll be talking even more about what the potential projection and lines are for that game against Ohio State there. So, again, it's not the best ticket selling, best national TV night of Big Ten basketball, but as for my household, it's obviously one that I'm excited to watch these 2 games tonight. So outside of the Big Ten, my friend, and obviously went to a couple Big East and ACC games. Anything else out of tonight's game to touch on before we get out of here?
I'm going to touch on one Big East game, but people want to know, Mr. Big Ten, that shot that they counted, Caitlin Clark didn't beat the buzzer, by the way.
I guess I didn't look too far back at it. I didn't look too far back at it. Was it that close? I saw the picture where it looked like the buzzer was already going off. So you gotta get the eyes on it, man. You can't take that away from her. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, it's Caitlin Clark, and just vintage, 20 feet behind the 3-point circle, nothing but net, bang, walk. She called game, so I had to get that jab in. I'll end with the Big East, a great, great game, I think. And the reason I'm saying that is Xavier travels to Nova. Nova's struggling a little, and this is not an Xavier team from the past few years ago. It opened up at 6.5, now 8.5. There are some 8s. Let me see where the 8s are. 8 at DraftKings, 8 at Caesars, 8 at Bet Online. I'm going to go to Ken Palm for 1 second. I got to call Mr. Pomeroy because I still can't believe that one. He's got Villanova winning by 7, 73-66. Xavier 7-6, losses to Purdue, losses to Washington, Oakland, Houston. If you haven't watched Houston, by the way, look out, Lord. Delaware and the Johnnies, they're coming off a win by 20 against Seton Hall on Saturday. Let me get to Nova here for a second. Nova 9-4, a loss to Penn. Then they rattled off wins against Maryland, Texas Tech, North Carolina, and Memphis. And then they come back with 3 losses in a row, St. Joe's, Drexel, and Kansas State, to come back with 3 wins in a row, UCLA, Creighton, DePaul. So my point here is they've been the Jekyll of all Hydes. You just don't know which Nova team's going to show up. I will have that. Guys, I'm going to just say this out loud, and my mind's going a mile a minute here. I was one of the first people in history to have DirecTV. And I was afraid to cut the cable. I mean, obviously, being in the sports world, I had it for the football package, and then we got the baseball package, yada, yada, yada. And my point is, last year when we opened up our office and studio in Centerville, Massachusetts, I needed cable for the 3 big screen TVs in our viewing room. My daughter talked to me about YouTube TV. And for pennies on the dollar, and it has gone up a little. My point is, they do a phenomenal job. I got it before I even knew they were getting the football package. There is nothing better than turning on the TV at 7:00 at night and having 4 college basketball games. Bing, bang, boom, boom. It's they do the same for college football. It's such a blessing.
My friend, it ended up going really poorly for my Illinois State Redbirds, but graduated Illinois State, still a fan of Illinois basketball. They had a 4-box with both of those games happening at once. I thought I had passed away and gone to heaven, my friend. So I know I am with you 100% of the way. Again, we'll go on the soapbox that they need to let us be able to pick our 4 and maybe mix and match, maybe get the Blackhawks in that 4-box with Illinois and Illinois State. I digress, though. I'll settle for what we've got because it is great. But no, I especially for this time of college basketball, I can't tell you how many times going back to my college days where I would badger my friends to let me use their spare 25-inch TV so that I could have as many TVs as possible. So it is a step up from that, and I've got my own extra TVs just in case I need it. But yeah, that 4-box is a godsend. But one more game before we go, because this one I forgot to mention is one that smelled, and it's my eyes were looking past it. Does this one smell to you? 9-3 NC State at 6-7 Notre Dame is coming off of a nice win against Virginia. Only 4.5 5-point spread on this one for an NC State team who kind of similar. Only losses are Tennessee, good BYU team, and then a mediocre Ole Miss team. And Notre Dame 6-7. I got some ugly losses on their slate. The Citadel has a 20-point loss. Georgetown, not a good loss, and then I think a couple others as well. But is that a smelly one to you coming off the page to you there?
Well, I look at one of my spreadsheets right now, and it's NC State, Notre Dame, and then Stanford, UCLA. So I will put both of those games together, and you would think it would be a flat spot for both Notre Dame and Stanford. Notre Dame coming off the big win against Virginia, Stanford coming off the blowout against Arizona, UCLA struggling, and I'm going to dig into KenPom right now for both of those for you, and then I'll just give you what the market's saying on those 2 games for everyone here. Let me see. He's got UCLA, Stanford. He's got UCLA winning 71-67. And your Notre Dame game, NC State 70-65. So he's got NC State winning by 5, and he's got UCLA winning by 4. I want to pull up. Actually, let me do this. I had an NC State team total over a few weeks ago. They came flying in against St. Louis. They scored 82. NC State 9-3 losses BYU, Mississippi, Tennessee. I will just say this very, very nicely. Their last 2 wins against St. Louis and Detroit Mercy. And I don't think Detroit's won yet. So I think they're 0-14 right now, unless they stole one over the weekend and I missed that. So they did beat BC, Maryland, Eastern Shore, not the Twerps or the Terps, Maryland, Eastern Shore, and then Tennessee Martin. So they don't have an impressive schedule. Notre Dame, as you said, big, huge win, obviously, against Virginia, a win against Marist before. Losses to Marquette, that's fine. Georgetown, kind of sort of unacceptable. And then the Citadel, hell no. A win against Western Michigan. A loss to Miami, I can fathom that. A loss to South Carolina, I can a little fathom that. They too beat Maryland, Eastern Shore, Okie State, and then they lost to Auburn. Well, I'll give you the NC State side. You know why? Guess who Notre Dame plays on Saturday? at home versus Duke. So I'll do the big win against Virginia, the peek ahead, the peekaboo. I'll take the NC State side, the UCLA side, and again Notre Dame, who will probably be about 8-point underdogs at home against Duke, will find a way to keep that one close and maybe upset them. So that's the old sandwich pancake game. Virginia, you win. NC State, you lose, and in comes Duke.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that Duke gloom in there, I'd be real interested in this one if I'm being honest with you. So I'm glad that is a very good point. That's a very good point. That is it. Yeah, I don't think I had too many other anything else that I was wanting to talk about tonight out of the college basketball slate. Should be a handful of good games worth watching, but. Outside of that, I know you usually tee it back to me for closing thoughts, but closing thoughts, as you said, we'll be back tomorrow. No Thursday night football, unfortunately, but I'm sure we can get talking about what's going on. But hey, man, I am pumped to be talking daily college basketball with slates like these, and there's going to be ones that are 10 times better than what we've got here today. So I'll be ready to rock and roll. As I said, glad to be back here in the year of 2024, my friend. Excited to see where we go this year.
Yeah, super stoked. A lot of stuff brewing here back in the ECSI studios. Supposedly a nor'easter heading east. We haven't had a snowstorm since Hector was a pup. It doesn't look like much either. I mean, there's some models saying 6-8 inches. Some other models a little north of us maybe get just over a foot. It hasn't happened in a while. So I'll just be here hanging out, having fun in the studios. In the NASA War Room. Shout out to Sports Map Radio, Anthony Pepe, the Die Hard show. Great show last night. We'll be back on Monday during the national championship game. Already have Paul Stone, Bernie Fratto coming on. We're going to grab a Washington beat reporter during the game, and we're going to grab a Michigan beat reporter during the game. Bernie Fratto from Fox Sports Radio be talking some Jim Harbaugh. He's connected, obviously, from Detroit, has some good info on Jim Harbaugh, where he's going, what the hell's going on there. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., Julian Edlow from DraftKings will be back at 10 a.m. I will be with Pop DiBiase live from L.A., at Prime Wave Media at 1 o'clock. Myself and Riley will be back at 4:30, and then we'll figure out Friday or Saturday. So shout out to WagerWire. Shout out to Zach Travis. Hey, Travis, if you're listening, or anyone from the WagerWire community in contact with Travis, tell him JD said hello. Riley said hello. Tell him we need to get going on our show this week, if not early next week. And let me see. I had one more shout out I wanted to give out. Slipped my mind. So everyone, have a great night. ECSI VIPs alert will be out soon. And other than that, thank everyone watching and listening. 2024 is going to be off the rails in charts. I will be live Radio Row February 2nd through the 9th with Anthony with Sports Map Radio for the Super Bowl in Vegas. We're working on either the Sweet 16, Riley, and Elite 8, which is at Boston Garden this year, or we might tiptoe to Arizona for the Final Four. So we got some big stuff brewing. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Investor, the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Have some fun, cash some tickets, and thank you all. And we will see you soon.